Coach Stallings, I hope you've had a great week, sir. Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa.
Ryan, I did. I thoroughly enjoyed the results of the game. I was a little worried there for a while, but we played an outstanding second half.
Yeah, and I almost want to pick your brain from just a coaching perspective. What's it like when you go into the halftime and you kind of up against the wall and you have to make a difficult decision to go to a different direction at quarterback?
Well, that's the reason that they play Coach Saban the big bucks. That was an outstanding decision that he made. It would have been extremely hard for me to have done that. I applaud him for making that decision. He went with a guy that had only lost one or two in his entire career, and yet he wasn't playing good, and they needed a lift, and he made the decision, and what a great decision it was. And like I say, that's the reason they pay him the big bucks.
Coach, I'm just curious what you see in the young man we talk about the true freshman quarterback that played in the second half, Tua Tagovailoa.
I just thought he played a fabulous second half. A big play that is going to get sort of forgotten because of the way he threw the football, but he scrambled and picked up a good first down, and I think he's got just tremendous potential. There's no question about that.
Well, Coach, is Coach Saban in a hard spot here with now? Because obviously you got Jalen Hurts and you got Tua Tagovailoa, and obviously you want as many quarterbacks you possibly can give. But I mean, I guess that's why they pay him the bucks to make this difficult decision.
Well, he made it, and he made the right one, and it was a difficult decision. I will assure you, because here the young man that was the outstanding player in the conference as a freshman, offensive player. And to replace him in a championship game like that took a lot of courage to do it. And like I say, I doubt very seriously if I'd had the courage to make that decision, but he made the right one and went ahead and won the national championship. What a great comeback they had. They were sort of floundering around the first half, but the second half was an entirely different game.
Yeah, no doubt. And Coach, you just look back and you look at that overtime and you look at the field goal miss and you look at the sack that happened right before the play was made there at the touchdown. But, I mean, it was like a roller coaster, Coach. It was just up and down. You like confidence, and then you had doubt. I mean, Alabama fans were panicking, and it looked like Georgia was going to walk out of there with a win.
Listen, I was panicking too when they trapped the quarterback and got him out of field goal range. And I just, for the life of me, I can't see how a defensive back could let somebody get that far behind him and no safety even backing him up. I never did see the safety, so I don't know whether it was a missed assignment or just poor technique. But on top of that, the quarterback made a great throw, and the receiver did an outstanding job catching the ball, and that was the play of the game. When they missed that field goal, I began to panic just a little bit myself.
Well, Coach, I went back and we watched a little bit of it, and I asked one of the players that caught the winning touchdown, and this guy's is so humble, and the guy that caught the touchdown pass, and he said, they were in a cover two, and he said, I was looking at looking at him, but what happened, the quarterback, if you look back, and you may or may not been able to see it so far on replay, but the quarterback drew the safety over. He pulled him over to the middle of the field because it looked like that's where he was going to go. And at the last split second, he let the ball go the other way. And it was kind of like it was really unique that he pulled the safety over to the other, the middle of the field.
I read where he said that. It's sort of hard for me to believe that a safety, it's got his responsibility to govern half the field, and the cornerback had the responsibility of covering his man, regardless of where the quarterback goes. So all that sounds good, and it was an outstanding play. I'll say that.
Well, Coach, let me ask you: when you look back at obviously Nick Saban and his place in history, he ties Coach Bryant with national titles. I never thought we'd see the day that someone would have 6 national titles, Coach. It's pretty remarkable.
Oh, that's in just 9 years? That's what's even more remarkable. Coach Bryant was over a period of time, but I tell you, Alabama has outstanding players, and they hadn't been an underdog in 10 years, so that's one of the reasons they keep winning. They just got better players than most people.
Yeah, and Coach, we've got an intro, and I know you don't hear it, but every day at 2 o'clock when we start this show, your voice comes on the air, and you say you can win it once every now and then, but you're as a coach, you kind of explain how hard it is to stay on top of that mountain. I know Coach Saban makes it look easy, but it's not easy, Coach.
It's extremely hard, and he's under a lot of pressure. People don't realize that. They say, "Well, he keeps winning. It's nothing to it. He can lose a game or two, but let him lose a game or two, and people say he's used up." Or the man has performed extremely well under a tough situation. Now, he's got good players. I understand that. A lot of us have been under pressure, and we didn't have good players. But still, he's under a lot of pressure to win every week.
And it was a lot of fun to watch Alabama win the national title. Coach, I'll never forget after winning the national title, and this has been a childhood memory of mine. I was, 12, 13, something like that, I guess 12 years old. And we came down to the parade. I'll never forget that parade the rest of my life. And you guys on the back of those flatbed 18-wheelers coming down University Boulevard and ending at the Gorgas Library. And I can almost remember you and Derek Lassick, and maybe it was George Teague and a couple of those captains who spoke up on the Gorgas Library and that parade. What a wonderful time that was.
I can remember it just like it was yesterday. It was a real thrill for me, and after you've done it as many times as they have, I'm sure it's not quite as big a thrill, but anytime you win the national championship, that needs to be really a highlight of your life. Of course, like I say, you've done it 6 times, and I just can't imagine anybody doing a better job modern-day football than what he's done.
Let's go forward right here, and we'll take calls for Coach Stallings, 205-342-9904. As always, Red, you're first up with Coach Stallings.
Good evening, Coach. I hope you're doing well, buddy.
Oh, Red, I'm doing fine, especially since I wasn't doing so good when that field goal kicker missed that field goal, but I'm doing extremely well now.
Amen to that. Thank the good Lord I didn't have a heart attack. I told
if a guy didn't have a strong heart,
blame it on the game.
How you doing, Red?
I'm doing great, Coach. I cannot complain. Thank you for asking. Coach, I got a 2-part question for you.
All right.
Back in the few times that you were behind in a game at halftime, did you allow any of the players to stand up and talk to the team? And if so, is there a certain player that really done a good job at that?
Now, whoa, ask that question again, Red. I didn't understand it.
Going in at halftime and you're behind, did you allow any of your players to stand up and talk to the team?
No, that never happened.
Okay, so you done the talking, they done the listening.
That's exactly right.
And trust me, when we have these former players who played under Coach Stallings, we always try to get them to share a pregame or a halftime speech. But I mean, Coach, let me ask you, okay? And Red, I don't want to steal your question, but Coach, what would you have told your team if you're Coach Saban and you walked in, you're down, and you're playing the way that you did in the first half? What would you have told them?
I'll tell you what Coach Bryant told them one time. We were playing Georgia Tech, and we had played extremely poor in the first half, and we were behind about 10 points, and I just knew he was going to really jump on the players. And he looked at them and he said, "Man, we got them right where we want them." He said, "As sorry as we played, and we're only behind 10 points, if we can do anything a lick, we're going to beat Georgia Tech." And, I would imagine Coach Saban said something like that. We played a poor first half, and we're behind just a few points, and if we can do anything at all, we're going to end up winning this game.
All right, Red, I'll let you continue, sir.
That's fine. I was just going to say, Coach, when you speak, people listen. I've only been late once calling in, and I can assure you, as long as I've got breath, I'll never be late again, buddy.
Very good. Good to talk to you, and have a happy New Year, my friend.
You too, sir, and tell Ms. Ruth we said hello. Y'all have a blessed day, sir.
I'll do it. Thank you, Red.
Thank you, Red. We always appreciate and Coach, I've told you this multiple times. Old Red waits about 35 minutes every Wednesday to be the first caller.
Well, I appreciate him being on the program, and I really appreciate him showing his consistency and being there to make that first call. I look forward to it myself.
205-342-9904. Let's go to Pee Wee in Grand Bay. Pee Wee, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Coach Stallings, how are you, sir?
Pee Wee, I'm doing fine. Thank you.
You know, you was talking about, being nervous and all that, and that's 100% correct. The first half, it just seemed like every time we turned around, we didn't do nothing but shoot ourselves in the foot. We missed
that's not exactly right. If you remember the early part of the game, we intercepted a pass and had excellent field position, and so that we didn't take advantage of it. We ended up kicking the field goal, had a penalty, and missing it. But we didn't start off all that bad.
No, sir. You're right. But yeah, that's what I was fixing to say, though. But we missed a wide open receiver for a touchdown. Ended up kicking a field goal that got called back on a penalty, and then ended up missing that field goal. And like you said, just did not play very well in the first half. The question I wanted to ask you, Coach, was if you were Tua, and I know you have to be prepared at any time to come in a game because it only takes one play for your number to be called. But if you're Tua in the locker room and Coach Saban calls all the quarterbacks in and he tells Tua, said, look, we're going to put you in this game, just how much, to me, that would be like a ton of bricks of anxiety falling upon my shoulders going, oh, my Lord, what have I got myself into now? But, he came out and played an outstanding game. I mean, just have you ever seen players just basically panic under that situation and just come out and not played very well?
No, I really haven't. But you got to give the young man lots of credit. Being behind the national championship game and to put him in, what an outstanding job he did. And we sort of forget, but he scrambled and picked up a first down, picked up 18 and 20 yards, and to me that was one of the real big plays the second half.
Yes, sir, and he got stuck going the opposite way and reverse field to get that first down, if I remember correctly.
That's right, and he'll play a long time before he'll play a better second half than he did in that championship game.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, Coach. We love you, and you have a great, great New Year, sir.
Now, let me say one other thing. You've got to give Coach Saban lots of credit for making that decision. That was a tough decision to put him in the game because he knows that'll hurt the confidence of the player that was there before him. But he did what he thought was in the best interest of the football team, and you got to appreciate him for doing that.
Well, Coach, and you talk about the risk and the reward. What if it goes backwards and a freshman comes in and he plays not very good? He plays poorly and throws interceptions. I mean, Coach Saban would have probably been raked across the coals with a lot of the national media folks.
Well, probably would have, but it didn't happen that way. So that's a iffy game. You can always play the iffy game. The bottom line is that the player played extremely well. And I think, what did he throw, 3 or 4 touchdown passes?
Yes, sir, 3.
And that was quite an accomplishment in the second half.
So, Coach, would you let these guys compete in the spring? How would you determine the quarterback going into next year? How would you kind of work that out? I mean, seeing what he did and then obviously seeing what Jalen's done, it's kind of like you got 2 pretty solid guys here.
Well, that's the reason they pay Coach Saban the big bucks. He made that decision to play him, and so he's going to have to make the decision in the spring game.
No doubt. Let's go to Robbie. Robbie in North Carolina. Robbie, you're on with Coach Stallings.
Hello, Coach Stallings. This is Robbie. I'm at the Indian Reservation here in Cherokee.
Yeah, Robbie.
I'm a lifetime fan of you.
Robbie, do you have a question? Your phone kind of broke up right there.
Yes, I have. Need to lower my volume.
Yeah.
All right.
If you don't mind.
Coach Stallings, when Tua threw that interception because he got the signals crossed, and then on the second series, Saban stuck him back in. Is that what you would have done as a coach?
Okay.
Or
And,
I just wondered that.
And Robbie, we're having a lot of problems with your phone, but let me see if I can pass that question on to Coach Stallings. That was Robbie in North Carolina, Cherokee, North Carolina. Coach, what he said was, even though Tua came out and he threw the interception, you may or may not know, but Coach Saban had said that they called the play and he had missed the signal. He said he missed the signal. He threw an interception, the young quarterback in the second half. Robbie was saying, what would have been your reaction there?
Well, if he'd thrown an interception, my reaction, I've been tempted to put the other quarterback back in the game. If you don't know what my reaction would have been, and I'm glad Coach Saban didn't do it, but that would have been my reaction.
Well, Coach, I always greatly appreciate it. I mean, we're celebrating a national title in Tuscaloosa. I mean, it's been all smiles here in T-Town for everywhere you go. You stop and get gas. You go to the local cafe. I mean, it's all smiles here in Tuscaloosa as we're celebrating the seventh.
And you know, it should be, because that's a real accomplishment. When you consider how many national championships Alabama's won in the last 9 years, what a great feat. And I was talking to somebody there in Tuscaloosa just the other day, yesterday, and asked how Coach Saban was doing, and he said, well, they're back at work just like nothing had ever happened. So he doesn't get too excited about things. He doesn't get too low about things. And he has the same mentality to be able to handle the ups and the downs, and that's a great tribute.
Well, he's obviously got to make some coaching hires. He's got to find a defensive coordinator because of Jeremy Pruitt leaving, and then everybody's adding that 10th coach, which requires another. So if you get a lot of if you sit around and clap and high five each other, then you kind of lose out on these guys. So he's right now in the coaching search and recruiting, finishing up recruiting, which National Signing Day coming up in about 3 weekends.
Right, and but he'll be able to handle it. But somewhere along the line, you've got to enjoy it and smell the roses just a little bit, because what a great accomplishment Alabama's done, and I hope he does enjoy it some.
Thank you, Coach. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Thank you again for being a part of our show.
Listen, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and congratulations again to Alabama for winning the national championship.